In 1912, the Titanic, the largest ship ever built, set sail on its maiden voyage. Luxury, dreams, and hope filled its decks, but no one could foresee the disaster that awaited in the icy Atlantic. In 1909, in the shipyards of Belfast, thousands of workers gathered around a massive skeleton of steel. A dream was being built, a dream the world would soon call the Unsinkable ship. The RMS Titanic was more than an engineering project. It was a symbol of human ambition. A floating palace, 269 meters long, 46,000 tons of steel, rooms decorated like royal hotels, grand staircases glowing under crystal chandeliers. Titanic represented mankind's belief that technology could conquer nature itself. But the ocean had its own plans. April 10, 1912. Crowds lined the docks of Southampton as Titanic prepared for her maiden voyage. Boarding the ship were the world's wealthiest millionaires, middle-class families chasing better lives, and immigrants in third class seeking a new beginning in America. A total of 2,224 souls stepped aboard. The engines rumbled, the ship trembled, and with cheers and waving hands, Titanic sailed into history. No one knew it was sailing toward tragedy. As the days passed, the North Atlantic began to change. Cold winds, dark waters, and most importantly, ice warnings. 6 different ships sent messages. Large ice fields ahead. Dangerous icebergs drifting south. But Titanic's wireless operators were overwhelmed, sending passenger messages, love notes, business updates, social greetings. One message, one of the most important, was actually replied to with greater than "shut up, we're busy," and so the warnings were pushed aside. The clock kept ticking. The night was calm, too calm. The ocean was flat as glass. No waves breaking against icebergs, meaning they were nearly invisible. At 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet suddenly saw it, a giant black shape rising from the darkness. He rang the bell 3 times and shouted, "Iceberg right ahead!" The officers ordered, hard to port, full reverse. But Titanic was too large, too fast, and too close. The iceberg scraped along the starboard side, ripping open 5 compartments. Titanic could survive 4, not 5. The unsinkable ship was going to sink. Captain Edward Smith inspected the flooding decks. The ship could stay afloat. For no more than 2 hours, he whispered, "God help us." Titanic carried 2,224 people, but it only had enough lifeboats for half. The unsinkable design made the owners arrogant. They removed lifeboats to keep the deck looking pretty. And now the price of that decision was about to be paid in human lives. The order was given, women and children first. First-class passengers calmly boarded lifeboats, some half empty, but in third class, chaos exploded. Locked gates, confusion, families running through narrow hallways trying to reach the upper decks. The band played music to calm the crowd and kept playing until the very end. One by one, lifeboats drifted away into the freezing dark. People still on board knew the truth. They were not getting off the ship. At 2:17 a.m., Titanic's stern lifted out of the water. Lights flickered, metal groaned. People clung to anything they could. Then, silence. The ship split in 2. The bow sank first, then the stern followed, rising like a tower before slipping beneath the ocean. Over 1,500 people were thrown into water colder than ice. Death came in minutes. Only a few lifeboats turned back. Most were too afraid of being swamped by drowning passengers. The RMS Carpathia arrived at 4 a.m. 2 hours after the sinking, what they found was devastating. People frozen like statues, lifeboats drifting silently, echoes of screaming long gone. Only 706 survivors remained, a tragedy the world refused to forget. After the sinking, investigators found shocking truths. 1. The ship was speeding through an ice field, trying to set a record. 2. The binoculars for the lookouts were missing, locked in a cabinet. The key was with an officer who never boarded the ship. 3. The steel was brittle in cold temperatures, making the damage far worse. 4. The nearest ship, the Californian, saw Titanic's flares and did nothing. Their radio operator was asleep. Human error, pride, and bad decisions combined into one perfect disaster. Today, Titanic's wreck was discovered in 1985. Two halves, 600 meters apart, lying 3,800 meters below the ocean surface. The grand staircase, gone. Cabins, collapsed. Shoes, plates, suitcases, still preserved. A silent graveyard of over 1,500 souls. And every year the ship continues to decay, slowly disappearing into the Atlantic forever. Titanic wasn't just a ship, it was a warning, etched into history, a warning about pride, about human arrogance, about how even the greatest creations can fail. But it was also a story of bravery, engineers who stayed to keep the lights on, musicians who played to calm fear, and families who sacrificed for one another. Titanic is not just a tragedy, it's a reminder that the ocean is vast, unpredictable, and never to be underestimated.